Hi everyone. So today, especially today, I've been feeling very inspired to discuss and share my thoughts and realizations about happiness, about life, about fulfillment, and how to live in a holistic way, how to be in the present moment. And it's because of a realization that I had yesterday that it dawned on me what is the problem that all of humanity is experiencing right here and now. And the problem is that we all want to be happy. Intuitively speaking, it seems like the right way to live. The things that we buy, the way we spend our time, the things that we do is all because of our pursuit of happiness. And so, what is the problem with that? Well, first, we have to reflect, how do we feel in our lives? How do we feel every day? Are we happy? And if we're not happy every day, what is the problem? Because everyone lives life the exact same way. We strive towards happiness. We spend every day working hard. We sacrifice our time, our health, our mental well being, our energy, our finance in order to be happy. We work jobs we don't like. We spend time with people we don't like. We do things we don't like. We buy things that are very expensive that we have to sacrifice a lot of other things in order to obtain. But all of this is for happiness. But then we have to ask ourselves, are we actually happy? If not, why not? Right now, 99% of the people on earth are doing things in order to be happy, but they are not happy right now. And 99.9% of the people will spend their entire lives doing what they think will bring them happiness, only to die without ever being happy. The happiness that I'm talking about is an elevated, effortless level of eternal happiness. Something that will last forever, something that is effortless. And this is important because if it doesn't last forever, it's not permanent. If it's not permanent, then our happiness will always have an underlying stress and anxiety behind it. The feeling that the protective feeling of wanting to make it last, the the feeling that although I'm happy now, I know that I will have to suffer again later. So the feeling of suffering will always be the underlying emotion if the happiness is not everlasting. The other one is that if the happiness is not effortless, it means that we have to work hard, tire ourselves out, consistently try in order to maintain that level of happiness. The moment we stop, the moment we relax, the moment we let go of our continual effort, we sink back into suffering. So that state of happiness is also not the state of happiness that we want. What we want is effortless, everlasting happiness. So first we have to ask ourselves, so before we get to that level of even thinking about such a level of happiness, most people have not even escaped their own primitive living. They haven't even obtained the minimum level to live, to survive. What I'm talking about is having 3 meals a day, having shelter, having clothing, having the basic living essentials and comforts. If we have to spend all our time and energy focused on just getting our daily food, supporting a shelter on our head, and the basic necessities of life, we haven't even been able to begin thinking about the next step, which is happiness. A great deal of people is still on the lower level of existence, which is just bare survival, bare minimum survival. And the people that are there are not even thinking about happiness right now. They're just thinking about survival. So those people actually have less slack because they are in a position, not in a position of privilege where they can begin thinking about happiness. These people are in a position of survival. How can I make sure I do not die? And so they have an excuse for the way they live their lives because they are forced into survival every day because of the system, because of not being dealt a good hand in life. And I'm not talking about these type of people because that level is a lot of the time beyond their control. They can work as hard as they can. They can work for hours, days, years on end, but still not make that level to transcend survival mode because of the conditions in their environment, because of their hereditary qualities. Maybe they are born with a sickness, with a disability that they are unable to transcend. So on that level, they are just focused entirely on survival, and that is their life. If they have to depend on themselves, their minds are just focused on survival. Maybe they will find happiness there, maybe not, but their mind has not yet evolved to the point where they are able to focus on happiness. Not saying that they won't achieve happiness, but for the other people that I'm referring to, the people that have their living needs met and are able to focus on living life happily, these are the people that I'm talking about. These are the people that, myself included, spend a great deal of the time seeking happiness because everything else has been met. So these are the people that spend their whole lives searching happiness, but I can guarantee a very, very, very tiny amount of these people actually feel true happiness. Again, true happiness is effortless, everlasting happiness. If it's not everlasting, effortless happiness, it's not good enough. It's not good enough because that happiness is always tainted by an underlying suffering, underlying effort, underlying stress. So that happiness is not maximum, it's not absolute, it's not what we should be striving towards if we're talking about happiness. If we're talking about happiness, we should be asking ourselves, how do I achieve this elevated state of effortless, eternal happiness? Then we have to ask ourselves, what is preventing us from having that state right now? Because if we are thinking about achieving a state in the future, we are immediately accepting that we do not have it now. And anything that we do not have now, we will never have in the future, because we are creating that duality of where we are and where we want to be. And we are assuming the position of lack, assuming the position of lack, not enough, suffering, discontent. So then why do I say that? Is because if we are unhappy now, if we want to be happy, we are assuming that we are unhappy now and that we want to be happy in the future. 99% of the people, the significant, overwhelming majority of the people want to be happy, but will never be happy, because there is a fundamental flaw with the pursuit of happiness, which is the point of this video that I'm trying to make. The point that I'm trying to get across is that as long as we want to be happy, we will never be happy, because as long as we want to be happy, we are assuming a state of discontent, and this state of discontent is ingrained in the pursuit of happiness. By pursuing happiness, we are creating a duality of how we feel now, which is discontent with the level of happiness that we want to feel. So what happens if we are able to forego forego the pursuit of happiness? If we stop pursuing happiness, then we will be happy. Someone just came into viewing this, and I hope you can speak English. There's a percentage of viewership on my channel that don't speak English. If you can speak English, then I really urge you to start thinking about the pursuit of happiness and why it's the poison of humanity. I'll speak to you later because I have an English class now with my children. Take care. Peace. Bye-bye.